we need to go through any intros or anything. But I guess before we start today, I guess I can ask, is there anything anyone specifically wants to cover today? I was planning on hopefully just doing more backlog grooming, making sure we have a handle on that. I know that Karsten and I are going to be out on vacation for the first 2 weeks of September, or I guess me, it might be the second and third week of September. I'm out from the 7th to the 18th. I know he said he's out for the first half of September, so maybe it's the previous 2 weeks to that. So we might be a little short-handed on people who are reviewing ROS Bag 2 PRs. So I guess what I'm maybe saying here is that we might need some help during September in keeping abreast of changes to ROS Bag 2. So anybody who's willing to pick up a little bit of reviewership would be greatly appreciated.
Now, I want to at least mention that I've been working on a design document for the ROS 2 launch, doing remote launches. I've sort of mentioned it before, and we talked about it a little bit in a couple of places, but now we're finally actually have a design document push out for consideration. Hopefully hopefully either today or early next week. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in.
Yeah, totally. That'll be on the ROS 2 design repository.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that. Remote launch is definitely, I think, something that was was powerful in ROS 1 that we don't have a real solid story around. So that's cool. Perhaps we can have a breakout discussion about it at some point to go over it in detail. But I think we'll wait for your first revision of the doc so we can all read through it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I was thinking about requesting that at some point too. So
perfect. So then I'm going to take a quick look at action items from last time, which was to post the Discord about an alternated time zone for the working group, which we didn't do. Do people on here still think that's a good idea? I think it was something I suggested and Dirk agreed with. Dirk sent us these scripts, so we're good. I also didn't post about general interest for cross-compile. I haven't had time to actually put together a formal design document. The best I have right now is a draft PR, although maybe we could discuss that. I kind of want to get folks' input on, yeah, just how we do it. So maybe I don't need to make a full formal design. Maybe I just need to have a brainstorming session where I present what I think the tool should look like, and I get any feedback back on why that's a bad user experience. Does that sound like a valuable use of anyone else's time? I'm gonna put it off for now. We've got a lot going on, and if we're not getting any clamoring for it, then that's fine. So we'll take a look at the community. I don't think that there's anything going on here. Yeah, no business. Something that I wanted to do for us here was I'd like to make a little dashboard of build statuses for, just an at-a-glance table of all the builds that the working group cares about. There's this AWS one. We're going to be deleting this. It's not really that appropriate for us to have AWS-specific things here in the ROS tooling organization. I'd rather have a tooling working group dashboard for us to look at. But something like this, where we've got all of the various builds that we care about, code coverage results, number of issues and PRs. I think this has been really handy for someone who's just trying to check the overall status of things. I was wondering where we should put it. I don't know if that many people are actually aware of the community repository. It kind of made sense for me to maybe put a dashboard here, but maybe I should make a new repository that's just ROS tooling build status or dashboard. I don't know. Anyone have a thought on what would make sense for organization on that? I don't have a strong opinion where it goes, but I'd like to put it somewhere.
I don't think location makes much of a difference, but I think it's good to have that overview because whoever is like looking over the status will have it much easier. We have a similar board for like the ROS2 jobs and the ignition jobs. I think it's a private repo at the moment, but it's really helpful to
Okay.
see in one glance what the status is.
Yeah, exactly. And we point our internal team on call to this board to start opening tickets when builds are failing. So exactly. Um, okay, I am just going to say,
I think its own repository sounds probably
yeah.
most ideal.
Okay, would dashboard or build status feel more discoverable?
Build status, I think, would be more discoverable, but dashboard probably covers more use cases.
Yeah, I guess we could put more stuff there. We could also have other repositories. It's not like we have a repo limit, or at least not a, a practical concern of one. Uh, yeah, I'll just say build status, and it can be really just be its one thing, and that way it's discoverable, pinnable. I'll pin it at the top of the organization for dashboard. Cool. Okay, decision made on that. So,
Yeah, especially since currently the stuff does not only. I just looked at the dashboard a little bit more. I think it contains more than a build status, right?
oh yeah, that's true. I like having the coverage results there, especially with the color coding. It starts to get you a sense of how close we are to hitting at least that particular part of the quality level bar.
And even issue numbers and pull request numbers and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I think dashboard is probably more specific in that case.
Yeah, we'll call it dashboard, and it'll have a little description on it.
And just give it a title and which says like it contains build status and whatever other information that people can find it with a Google search.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll pin it up here with community and GitHub, and then it'll be at least somewhat discoverable. It is. I've noticed that it's unfortunate that you can't have sort of meta information about an organization. You have to have repositories. Because sometimes I'll find an organization that has some repos I'm interested in it, and then I don't know what the organization is about at all because it's not clearly named. But we can try to do our best by pinning a few repositories that are representative. Okay, that sounds good for that. I'll just call it dashboard. Then we might as well get into our backlog review. This is the meat of our operation here, is making sure that we keep a handle on. Oh man, where's the ZenHub board? I don't keep a link at the top of this, or should. I just had a new OS install and I haven't reinstalled my ZenHub plugin.
I just threw one of the tickets in the chat, which I think would be good to look at because it's one of the failing tests currently on CI. But I think Devin already commented on it, that he will have a chance to look at it. Thanks for that.
I'm looking. Oh, you threw it on the.
Oh yeah, on the Chime chat.
I'm not seeing it.
Is that the RCL CPP test for topic statistics, Dirk?
No, the very first, the ROS bag issue 501 test record. The ROS bag 2 transport test record test is failing.
Okay.
So it may be in the document and you have it easier handy.
Yeah, for some reason I tried sending a chat, it's not sending through, so I think my chat window is broken, and I'm hesitant to reload the page because I'm the organizer and I don't know what'll happen.
I think it will land in a weird spot in the list, but you can copy and move it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. 501.
It's just one of the very few last ones which currently is still not passing. And the goal is basically, we worked for it for last month and a half, 2 months. I think almost all the jobs are now passing green. So I think once a couple of remaining ones will be fixed, then we hopefully can keep it that way. We'll see.
Yeah.
Which gets us back to the dashboard because it makes it much easier to look at it and say it's green than it's like yellow, but how much yellow?
Yeah, exactly. What's failing exactly. Perfect. So, how do I normally filter this? I'm sorry, guys. Don't show me pull requests. I don't need to see the Xbox or these epics, and I can not look at closed. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we have 16 new issues. That makes sense to me. Let's try and get a handle on those first. I think we've done a really good job over the last 2 meetings of starting to empty it out. Because I think that, especially, considering the amount of actual development bandwidth we have here, we need to present a clear backlog, at least as our minimal demonstration of value here. So let's take a look at that first, and then we'll try to make sure that we look at the most important things. But 501, move to the top of the list. Test record failing. This is fairly clear to me, so I'm happy to move this to the top of the backlog, especially because it is in the nightlies. We will pin it as high priority. Okay. Then this one, to me, I think that I was able to get my head around what this was supposed to be when I was reading it. Does anyone here have more context on this? The title's not clear to me, so I would like to update that right now. There's a follow-up to number 308, which is I believe it's a follow-up to the reader and writer Python API, which we just merged last night or this morning. Oh, and it has a build failure. Why did it have a build failure when we just got the screen CI? I guess it's a couple days old. Should we roll this back? Or is it just a test error? Oh, it's the Clang job, which we are not launching as part of CI Launcher normally. I get it. Okay, so we should just fix this as fast as possible, but it's not the tier 1 build. Did we open a issue for that? I know I'm sort of jumping around here, but did I install this? Do that work? Great. Okay, so thanks to Stephen for commenting on this. I think we should make sure we have an issue for it. Which is just part of managing what's going on. Okay, so Windows debug nightlies. Okay, this is also bug reports. Back to, is it Pi? Yeah. Pi build failure in Clang. Builds. So it was introduced by 308. We'll just link to this comment. Copy link. Okay. Okay, we can also move this one. There we go, to the top of the backlog as well. We don't like those Oh. Okay, where were we? We were looking at wraparound Python reader API, which is after the reader and writer. We want to wrap around get message and deserialize message APIs. So this is this just syntax candy? Yeah. So I'd say that instead we could say simplify Python deserialization API. Does that make sense? Sound more completable? I don't. Darn. Show me the working group. I'll have to delete that other pipeline. We've emptied out all of the AWS specific issues. Okay. So this is simplify ROS message deserialization guys. Sure. I think that we can. I think that this is completable based on how it's really just these two APIs that wants to get exposed into the Python API from what I can tell. So I'm happy to move this to the bottom of the backlog because we have a lot of bugs to look at, so they're going to the top. Option to log a message when it is known to be dropped. I logged this myself. It was something that we thought of because we do, especially from those performance tests, we had, reporting on how many messages we're dropping. Would it make sense to add a logging option, perhaps throttled, or is that too noisy of a thing to add here? I guess it's not whether it's useful, it's whether it's a priority. Well, it starts out with whether it's useful, yeah. Total count dropped.
It's hard to come up with a specific filtering which will work for all cases. Some people would say, oh, every 10 seconds giving a message would be great. Every 100th message you drop would be great. But then if you drop 99 and you don't get a message, or there's always a case where you would like to see every message, but usually that's too much, right?
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe we just keep a running count and print at the end of recording, I know that we dropped this many messages. Is that useful?
That sounds very good, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds easier to tune and complete. Aspect to writer recording.
Or even if you drop more after like a minute or something, you'd write a status update message like, in the last minute we dropped that many packages of these types. At least you get some feedback before you record the 10-hour back file.
Yeah.
You could start with a summary at end of record, and you can, with Control C, whatever, and then, as you said, we could add a moving window as like another feature.
Yeah. Follow up tickets to be created. Okay, so total known dropped messages, print this count at the end of recording a bag file. Perhaps this could even be when it rotates, which means that you would have some control over when you saw the thing. So within each bag, print this. Or should we just do it at the end of recording? Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay, print this count at the end of recording. Print print on every bag file rotation, every 1 second. Okay. Keep a running total to log count of known dropped messages.
Was it supposed to track them by like the topic or type of message, or is it aggregating the number?
So right now the writer queue, I believe, is a single queue, so it is easier to track just the total count, though I think that there is value in tracking by topic, but that could also be a follow-up to once we have this basic functionality. Print a per topic type counts. At least 10 messages. Okay, that's a lot more completable. Or at least it's a lot less ambiguous in how it gets done. A ROS bag 2 splitting and compression info to the README. Is this not accurate anymore? We were cleaning out an old AWS backlog and moved some of the issues, including this one. Let's just take a quick look at the ROS bag 2 README and see if it mentions splitting or compression. No, it doesn't. Okay, that's
We should take this one as it was our feature we put back.
yeah, we should, and it'll be really quick to do too. So I'm gonna move it to the top, even though it's not a bug, but we can, or should we just say we're gonna take this on? And
yeah, that's what I meant.
Cool. Okay, I'll assign it to just me as the proxy, and we'll reassign it to whoever actually takes it on. Could be me. Okay. Yeah. Nice to just promise to do things immediately. Perhaps we should do that for the build failures also. Although hopefully it would be nice if we could ask Mabel to take care of those build failures from that PR. Maybe we can ping her and see. I guess Stephen did. Let's, I'm just gonna do, what is it? So will it be at the top of this list? Let's say to action items. About build failures. Make sure to take notes. Okay, random access reader for ROSpec 2. This is on. Is my screen readable, by the way? I didn't think to ask at the beginning. I've got this new monitor, and I don't know how well the high DPI translates on screen share.
It's a little bit small.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So next time, please, anyone, like, if it's hard to read my screen, say something immediately. I just don't know. Okay. Hopefully that's a little better. This makes perfect sense to me, especially with the fact that we're reading out of these SQL databases. There's no reason that we have to read purely sequentially. Being able to have a SQL interface seems really powerful. I think that we can work on this based on the way it's worded. Mostly, I think what we're asking for is something like the ROS-beg1 view iterators or the OS file seeking. I think that's fine. This doesn't have to be a design document. Though it might be nice to see a short design before someone begins implementing this. Would be nice to see a design proposal implementing this with the future requests. Okay, we have a playback error on macOS. This one is not old. Playing back bag. Oh, and this has to do with, I think that Patrick here has been opening a bunch of issues lately, which I've really appreciated. And he has a proposed fix that we've been iterating on a little bit. I think that the first approach we didn't like. I'm just going to say this one's in progress right now because the fix is in review. Can I? Oh. Assign him for now because he is working on it, and we will check back in on it later. Cannot open include file syswait.h. Windows build. I think that we also are building OSRF testing tools CPP in our CI runs, and the Windows builds do fail occasionally. I don't have, let's see, so this is set up ROS. If I look at action, it doesn't seem worth digging into the cause here. I think the important part is that I think we have seen this same issue sporadically on our action CI Windows builds. Needs further investigation. Although maybe he's getting it all the time. I'm just going to say needs further investigation, and we should assign this to our team. So, let's make sure. Access race condition. This one also, I believe, is in progress. I know there's a PR up adding a mutex around the writing process. Yes. Okay, so I don't think we need to go into too much detail. This one's in progress. I think what we're going to want to do is make sure that we have some time at the end to take a look at the open pull requests. I'd like to try and figure out how to make a process for this working group around owning getting pull requests through, especially as next month Karsten and I are on vacation. We'll want to make sure that there's some way to have some ownership over PRs. I mean, they might go quiet for a few weeks, but I'd prefer to find another way. So, prospect is silent and stops recording. Any comments on this? Oh, okay, but not entirely. This is in progress, but not entirely fixed. Still dropping the large topics after 30 to 60 seconds of recording. This feels like it's related to the performance testing stuff that we got from before, from Robotech. in that we drop large topics when. Okay. Well. This is bad and we need to take care of it. But I think that, yeah, it seems like there is a memory leak here. We need to make sure that we review this, and then there's probably a follow-up, and that it's part of the performance testing findings. Okay. Prospect to memory leak. So this is the one that really is in progress because he has the PR open for it. 2 of them. So Karsten and no. Karsten has 2 PRs open for it. Probably need reviews. Then ROS 1 is not being sourced correctly. This one is not good. There was a bug in this 18 release that was not good, so I wasn't sure in GitHub Actions if it makes sense to, I don't know if you can delete releases. The problem is we're using this patch release, so we should probably bump to 0.10, and that way we can actually have patches on API, like have some sort of understanding around the API. Right now, with only using the patch release, there's absolutely no guarantees between releases, which we've been finding our way into making this properly useful slowly over time. But I think it might be time to like bump it up to a minor version so that folks can have some understanding of what they're getting. But I think we just need someone to try and reproduce this on a ROS 1 package. Oh, and maybe it's that the VCS repo file defaults to downloading all of the source code except, oh yeah, and then if that's in your workspace, and yeah. Did this involve question resolve the issue? Yes, he's actively. So perhaps we can update the document to case. I'll just say this one is, I'll assign it to maybe follow up on the conversation. Thanks, Christoph, for helping out there. Really appreciate that. Now, how are we doing? We've got 1 left. Oh. Test errors, okay. Top of the backlog. Yeah, these nightly builds are top priority. Let's take them on. I'd like to, let's see, where is Mabel? Is she at the, I guess everyone's at home now. Never mind, I was gonna be like, is she at the OS or off office? But that's not a thing.
Yeah, she works from Boston.
Oh, gotcha, okay. Anyways, I think that it would probably make sense to just give her a quick ping. I'm sure that she's probably happy to follow through on fixing the build errors from that PR. And if not, one of us can jump on to help. I think that makes the most sense from my perspective. So we'll already have that as an action item. And we have cleared out the new issues column for the first time in a while. Hooray for us. Something that I would like to make sure that we look at is pull requests. But another thing I wanted to ask before we jump into that is, considering that I'm going to be out of town for at least 1 meeting in September, would anybody else want to volunteer to run this meeting one time? I think I'd like to try maybe rotating meeting runnership occasionally, Like, I'm happy to do it most of the time, but it might be fun to pass it around, spread the load a little bit, maybe between folks who are reviewers on the organization or approvers level, which I think a lot of the governance model that we ended up drafting for the template is built around who are approvers. So it might make sense to go with that group. So I don't know. Do we have any volunteers? We might also cancel the meeting then if we don't have a volunteer to run the meeting in September. We can deal with that as we get closer to it, though. So I'm just putting it out there. If anyone wants to think about stepping up to run one of these meetings, that person would be greatly appreciated. If not, then we can go back to looking at the board. So don't need to see these. We should probably take a look through those at some point, but I don't want today to be that day. I'm glad that we have, oh, why is it showing me 7 out of 13? So, okay. I created this roadmap repository under the working group organization because we had some extra sort of high level issues that I wasn't sure how to track it. I'm not sure if this is the right way to go about it, but I just put them somewhere for now because we built this topic statistics feature sort of under the auspices of the working group, sort of as the AWS team. I'm wondering where we would put topic statistics improvements. We sort of got one of the libraries here under the working group, and then the rest of the features in RCL CPP. So I'm not sure where to put these overall improvement to the feature. Maybe it ends up belonging on ROS2, or maybe we have a repo spanning roadmap repository here. Anyone have an opinion on that? No. Is anyone here?
No, no one's here.
Okay, just making sure. Because the topic statistic one is a little weird. Like we've got, it's a little bit of an odd situation with us having the statistics collector, or do we not? There it is. We've got the statistics collector library here, which RCL-CPP consumes. However, not all of the functionality for the topic statistics feature as a whole is here because this is really just a utility library that does, averages and sums. It does a little more than that, but to break it down real high level. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna keep the what do you call it? The roadmap repository for now, and we're gonna have it for tracking high-level features. This is, we want to be able to have topic statistics be configured via parameters. It does not have to specifically be via a launch file. Yeah, so you can't configure it through launch specifically. You have to pass it through a parameter, but right now it's only, yeah, so this is specifically node options because allow them to be able to configure through parameters. We'll capitalize it to make sure that we understand it's a specific cross concept. Should be able to be configured, configurable at runtime. So this is important for feature parity with ROS1. It's a little bit different because we don't have global parameters, but I'm going to put it not at the top. That's a nice to have. Labels, enhancement. I don't know how high of a priority this is. we wanted topic statistics. We want to follow through on finishing up the feature to be at parity with ROS 1, but we have a lot of bugs that I think take higher precedence. So I think we'll keep this low for now. Single publisher for notes topic statistics. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely would be an improvement.
These are all tracked on a meta ticket in ROS 2 as well.
Are they linked on that ticket?
I thought so, yeah. Oh, maybe not. Let me make sure that they are.
Yeah, if you could just put, yeah, so I think we've got these 3 things. There's sort of the backlinking, but if we could put them into or I think you have the checklist, they're just not linked to the issues. So if you could link
Let me take the time to do that.
Perfect, thank you. And so this, right now, the only statistic we have is the period between messages received, and this is alternatively between the period of sending messages. Is that right?
Right, publisher side.
Yeah, cool. Oh, investigate. Yeah, we'll probably want to keep our spikes. I guess this was from a while ago. We probably want to keep our spikes internal, I think, on this. But this was just, I moved it over from the old roadmap. I think I'll probably close this here unless you object. And we can track doing any spikes internally. We should just track the actual features on the AWS roadmap.
Yeah, I feel like if someone is going to implement the feature and at the PR, we could always ask these questions.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can ask it on the ticket itself, just to keep things combined.
And maybe I'm going to put those questions on the ticket for anyone who looks at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, please do. Okay, so there's one thing that was fix troubleshooting URL for ROSBag 2, which I did merge into the mainline for everything, but the backlog or the backports aren't fixed yet, so I'm going to reopen that. That was something I had in mind that I'm still, there were build problems on the backport builds. I'm not sure exactly how to fix them. Maybe I'll ask Stephen about it on Monday, because it seems like the Windows environment just wasn't happy setting itself up on Eloquent or Foxy. And I don't know what's causing that, but we don't have to get into that here. We have backport PRs open for all the platforms we want this troubleshooting URL to be fixed on. And it is merged into mainline with a common utility in RPyUtils. So if anyone's building C extension libraries, there's now a function in RPyUtils that has all of the troubleshooting URL and error handling for that. So if you want to use that for your C extension library, that's probably the way to go. Okay. From here, I think we want to take a look at pull requests. Something that I certainly have been dropping the ball on is keeping up to date with all of the reviews that we have. I think some of them have gotten fairly stale. We can probably filter at, can I do minus bump? No, not bump. Okay, can't. Oh, I guess I can filter by the label. That's weird. There's definitely a dependencies label. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we have yeah, 23, 25, 27 open pull requests against our repositories, which is a lot. I think a valuable exercise here would be to take a look at all the ones that are unassigned and make sure that they have some assignees. Something I was thinking about is I think that GitHub has a feature, and if someone knows more about this, please help me out here, where you can auto-assign reviewers based on a team. And I think that might be valuable for all of our repositories here to auto-assign in round-robin fashion from the reviewers and approvers group of the working group. That's not a lot of people, but it's, you know, what we've got to work with, and we can send out a call for more reviewers. We have, let's see, teams. Yeah, so the reviewers team. Can we show all? Wait, can I show both? Huh, weird. Okay, so we have this group of people. I don't know if this is up to date anymore. Aaron and Devin, I don't know what you think. Perhaps we should remove Zach and Projecta because they're not spending their time on this working group anymore from the reviewer group. Also,
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It might be smart because I mean, especially if we're going to be rotating through on a lot of reviews, they're not going to be able to spend the time on that.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to remove, and Siddharth is now done with this as well. Remove members from approvers. Probably it doesn't make sense for you, Aaron, to be on code reviewer group either.
Yeah. I think reviewers is a little bit of a high opinion of what I might do.
I think you're on the owners group, which gives you admin privileges. So I don't think you need to be on the reviewer chain for that to happen. So really, when I look at it, this list looks accurate to me.
Yep.
Yeah. Why am I not a... Can I change myself to maintainer? Yeah. Hey, I was already allowed to. Oh, whatever. I don't know. This is not right now. I just wanted the little badge. Okay, so we've got the approvers group here, which makes sense. And then reviewers is supposed to have people who are not approvers. I don't think that... So wait, Jesse was already in the approvers group, so it's not necessary here. Is there a specific reason we added Ashish? I'm just trying to do a bit of housekeeping here.
I don't remember. I think it's just everybody, before we split the teams, everybody was invited essentially.
Yeah, okay. And then that means that we don't have anyone who's a reviewer that's not an approver, basically, because everyone here is on the approvers group.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's think about that for a second. I mean, if we want, like, just, it might not be the routine of their day, but if they want to go review some things, it seems like maybe the other team should be still have that.
I think that'll clean it up for now, and I will send out the call internally to ask anyone to opt in to being a reviewer rather than opting out of it, because it's not, like you said, part of their daily routine. This would be a voluntary extra thing, like extra team duty.
I like that. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So we have this here. Members has more people in it, which is good. It doesn't confer a lot of responsibility. It's just a few people, and that's fine. I'm gonna, yeah, add a member. He said he wanted to still be a part of this. Ooh. That's interesting. Removing people is easy, but adding people is hard. extra password blocking on it. Okay, so this was just to say that we have this reviewers group, which has some number of members via the child team. And I was thinking it would make sense to auto-assign in round-robin fashion these people to being a reviewer on PRs. That doesn't mean they would have to do it alone, but that would mean they'd be responsible for getting it through completion, which could mean, you know, requesting help from others for more context. But it would make sense to me as the according to the governance model that we could start to do this auto-assigning. Does anyone have thoughts about that?
I think that would really help for just giving ownership, so that one person knows that this is something that they're responsible for.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, you could always trade it off with someone that's just a agreement, but that way at least someone gets that responsibility on their plate. We won't yet have alerting for PRs that get stale, so you'll have to check for pull requests that are assigned to me, but at least there's a view for that. But we are working internally on making little alarms when you know, anything gets too stale. That'll be always out though. So how do we do that? I'm just going to add that as an action item to investigate auto-assigning reviewers plus subteams to PRs in ROS tooling and on respect to.
Also, I'm sure Karsten will be very happy about this, but we should definitely double check with him considering he's not here today.
Yeah, I will. Okay. So for now, I kind of think what we need to do, and I don't know if we have enough time to do it within this meeting, and maybe it's kind of would be boring to watch anyways. Does anyone have any objection to me writing a little script that auto assigns that group? Because I think let's just try out one real quick. If you go on to here and you add a reviewer and you say reviewers, ROS tooling. What about, wait, sorry, assignees, ROS tooling. Apparently not. How's this supposed to work? Okay, then I don't know. Suggestions, everyone else. ROS2 tooling working group. Oh, is this because we're on ROS2 and therefore the tooling team isn't here? Darn, that's going to make it a little bit harder for ROSBeg 2. But what we can do is we can check on these internal ones and say reviewers. Yeah, okay, so if we take reviewers and add it as the reviewer, it auto-assigned 2 people because this requires 2 reviews, and I believe it was at random. Then, based on that, does anyone have an objection to me going through on all of the ROS tooling ones and doing this auto-assign, and then we can see how it goes? Should I do it? Let's see. Should I do it as reviewers or as assignees? How does that work? What's the difference between a reviewer and an assignee on?
Pretty much just which queue it shows up in, and your.
Oh, you can't assign a team, but you can use a reviewer to auto-select from a team. So I'll do reviewers then, and then I think on pull requests, you can go to review requests. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Any objection to me going through on all of them and just adding that thing? I'll probably do it with a script. Cool. There is a tooling working group on ROS-bag 2, but I don't know how exactly we keep it in sync the same way. Because let's see, if I say tooling, yeah, there it is. So this is on ROS2. There's a team. I might be a maintainer of it, in which case we could at least teams. Tooling. I think we might just need to write a little script to keep this in sync with the, should we just keep it in sync with the reviewers and sub-members of the organization team? Because that's the way we want to use it, is for reviews. I'll say that for now. Do that, or maybe we need another sub-team of this. Can I make a? I probably can't. Here.
No, you can. There's a click on Teams there. There's a. Probably don't need to do this like during the meeting, but there.
Yeah, it's okay. I can add a team to this group. Perfect. Okay, I'll just make a matching reviewer group, and we'll figure out how to keep it in sync later. But cross-tooling work sub-team in sync. Cross tooling and assign to ROS-bag 2 PRs. Cool. I think that this is very productive, at least from my perspective. It's a lot of housekeeping, but I think the very least amount of value we can provide here is by keeping a tidy house for everyone else to come and play in. So thanks everyone for coming today. Is there any last notes we wanted to discuss real quick before going from anyone? And if we want to move that section of the meeting up earlier next time, I'm always happy to do that. Just shout at me and let me know what you want to talk about. I'm here to listen. Okay. Thanks, everyone.